Good morning, or whatever it is. Welcome to the housing revolution. So this week, we're going to talk about the second of the two deepest roots of our dysfunctional housing system. Again, a root that very few are talking about, our hyperinflationary mortgage system. But in order to really understand this, we all need to have an understanding of some basic economic concepts. Having a solid understanding of basic economic principles is crucial for so many reasons. Chief among them, the economy has been weaponized by those who do understand economics, who have the means to exploit the economy, and who are able to influence economic policy. Our economy is very competitive. Like any competition, be it sports, chess, or whatever, if you go into a competition without a strong understanding of the rules of the game, its strategies, and the strategies of your opponent, you're setting yourself up to take a big beating. In our economy, failing to understand basic economic principles and the strategies being used by those that have that obscene need to economically repress and dominate others is basically rolling over and saying, "Here you go, buddy, have at it." So it's crucial that everyone have a solid understanding of basic economic principles. It's even more crucial when it comes to understanding the affordable housing crisis. And again, I'm not selling anything. I'm not selling a course on how to make 50 grand a month in passive income or trying to get you to invest or something or whatever. My only goal is to get the housing revolution off to a formidable start and make sure it is headed in the direction it must go in order for it to be successful for future generations to come. So this week is a crucial and empowering week. This will get you on track to being able to call out the BS when the economic powers that be and their pawns in the mainstream media and all levels of our hijacked government use their false narratives to justify the current economic status quo. For instance, when they say, "Oh, it's good for the economy," you immediately will respond, "Wait a minute, exactly whose economy is it good for?" You're going to see that what's good for the economy often isn't good for your economy or the personal economies of your friends and family. You'll see how undemocratic it is when Congress makes legislation based on economic statistics such as GDP, where someone like Bill Gates is represented infinitely more than you or I. When the pawns of the economic powers that begin touting their economics degrees, you're going to question what they got more of, an objective education or a brainwashing. You'll begin to see that just as the priority of healthcare education is not about creating a healthy and thriving populace as much as it is about maintaining the financial status quo of the healthcare industry, the priority of economics education is not to create a financially healthy and thriving populace, but rather to maintain the economic status quo, to ensure the economically dominant remain dominant, to ensure that the massive transfer of wealth going from those doing the real work in this country, those in the real economy whose labors are producing real goods and providing real legitimate services, continues to immediately flow to the asset class, to those building wealth via unearned income, without having to expend any time and energy producing real goods or providing real legitimate services. Is this important? Yes, it's extremely important. We had an entire generation or two completely fooled by trickle-down economics. We all fell for it, and because of the average person's inability to refute this narrative, or their lack of will to even question their own chosen leaders who were espousing this narrative, the economic powers that be at that time and their pawns in the mainstream media, the government, and in economics academia were able to run with it. And now they are using this narrative with housing. Instead of building the appropriate supply of housing we so need, that being an ample supply of necessity-based, income-appropriate housing, they continue to build more and more luxury housing. Luxury in this case is the classical sense, meaning above necessity. So developers and landowners are always going to build housing that is as high-end as possible because it enables them to maximize their profits. Because of the obvious lack of necessity-based, income-appropriate housing available, they use the trickle-down housing narrative to warrant their building only the high-profit luxury housing we already have way too much of. They tell us that whenever luxury housing is built, everyone magically moves up into better housing, magically leaving a bunch of necessity-based, income-appropriate housing available for low-income households to move into. which is just about as big a crock of shit as trickle-down economics was and is. As we are continuing to witness, this trickle-down housing theory has not panned out. Now, how could it? There's an inadequate supply of necessity-based, income-appropriate housing in the first place. Bottom line, there's only one place where trickle-down actually does happen. I mean, on a very consistent and predictable basis. And that's the Senate men's room. No, seriously, have you ever been there? It's got to be the only set of bathrooms, probably in the entire world, where it's actually the men who are sneaking into the women's room because it's faster. And then you get all these people saying stuff like, how come our Senate never gets anything done?
Ask your doctor today if McConnell is right for you.
Eventually, you're going to be able to call out these false narratives and other misguided narratives such as, it's just a supply issue, that's all it is, or it's just the regulations or zoning or NIMBYs or government or people are saying, what we need is for the employers to pay their workers a living wage. And when you hear any of these narratives, you'll be able to articulate why they aren't true or are falling woefully short. So this is called defense. Whether it's basketball, chess, housing, or any other competition, this is how you play defense. This is how you stop allowing your opponent's offense to run over you at will. So this week, after we discuss some of the requisite basic economics principles, we are going to talk about our hyperinflationary mortgage system. With your newfound understanding of economics basics, it will all make sense. And then you are going to see the monster that has been created when we put our unlimited feudalistic property laws together with our hyperinflationary mortgage system. You will see that the damage created by these two forces acting together is exponentially more lethal than either acting alone, kind of like water and potassium. You're going to see plain and clearly that given these two dysfunctional roots, there's no way our land and housing system could not have come to the dysfunctional state it is currently in. You'll also see that we can't fix our dysfunctional housing system for the long or short term without comprehensively and effectively addressing our unlimited feudalistic property laws and our hyperinflationary mortgage system. And for those of you wondering, no, I'm not a gold standard guy, nor am I a credit for any and everything under the sun guy. There's a much better way, and sooner or later, we will get to that. Anyways, that's it for now. So just be ready to learn some economics this week. And if you are one of the many people who don't like economics, or if you already are thinking it's going to be over your head, don't worry, it won't be. I'm going to break these concepts down into everyday language and present them in ways that everyone will understand. So please share these videos. The housing revolution will happen that much sooner with your help. And of course, don't forget to lick the hype button, subscribe, and always hit the No Boxtrinations tab. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm, blah, blah, blah. All right, see you tomorrow. Over and out.